What's up, boys and girls? This is Lance White, and you are watching WGS-TV.
Hello everyone, welcome to another installment of WGS-TV right here on youtube.com/WrestleGamer and ZFX-TV. I'm Double B Billy Boudreaux, and this is part 2 of DMC Devil May Cry. We're right here in the middle of Mission 1, which finds us and Dante right in the middle of limbo with a hunter demon pursuing him. We see a girl who is now known as a psychic. Apparently she can see into limbo and communicate with people in limbo. So we're trying to find our way out of limbo and confront this hunter demon. So while you guys are seeing that, I'm going to talk about Impact Wrestling for the week of excuse me, February 14th, 2013. Yeah, Valentine's Day. I'm not going to talk too much about Valentine's Day since I don't care for it too much. But anyway, the opening saw Hulk Hogan come out and announce a series of matches to find a new #1 contender for Jeff Hardy at Lockdown. And not only that, but he's also creating a team for Lockdown, Team TNA versus Team Aces and Eights. And he's already announced the team captain for TNA, and it turned out to be the Stinger. So I thought it was a good opening, you know, a good setup for the show. I'm going to go 4 out of 5 on it. The opening matchup saw Magnus taking on Daniels. You saw a couple of weeks ago on Impact, where Daniels and Kazarian started poking fun at Magnus and everything like that, and it's not developed into a match here. And Magnus was received very well. Yeah, I know he's in the UK, so he's going to be received well. But you know, Magnus and Daniels put on a very good match. I was highly impressed. Magnus gets the win over Daniels using the top rope elbow drop. So Magnus goes on to defeat him in a very nice match. 4 out of 5. Backstage, Bully Ray's complaining about the quad injury, and then he starts changing the fact that it's Valentine's Day, and got Brooke Hogan in a promo. Brooke Hogan may be eye candy, but when she starts talking, it just goes sour really, really quick, because she has absolutely no promo or mic skills whatsoever. Now, if she was using it in the capacity of being the executive over the Knockouts, that's another story. But this storyline with her and Bully Ray is just absolute crap. Well, let's talk about something that's not crap, and that was the next matchup between Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe. Always a great match to see, no matter what the circumstances are. If one of them's heel or one of them's face, or both of them heel or both of them face, it's still a great match to watch. And my only gripe about this is we did not see a clean finish, because we saw the newest members of Aces and Eights, Wes Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff, come in and just started beating down on both Angle and Samoa Joe, which kind of leads me to believe one of two things will be happening. One thing, Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe will be on Team TNA, and Garrett Bischoff and Wes Briscoe will be on Team Aces and Eights. Or two, we'll have a tag match either at next week's Impact or on the pay-per-view Lockdown between Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, and Garrett Bischoff and Wes Briscoe. A lot of people might think the latter, with the Team TNA and Team Aces and Eights scenario will probably be the most likely scenario to happen. Now, since Rockstar's 3.5 out of 5 on the Angle and Samoa Joe match, the only reason why I don't give it a 4 out of 5, because I really wanted to see a clean finish, we did not see that. But then again, we do have a likely scenario of Angle and Samoa Joe being on Team TNA, and Wes Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff being on Team Aces and Eights. Again, it's a scenario. Remember, I don't read spoilers. I'm just making assumptions from various things that I've seen. Speaking of things we've seen, we have a mixed tag match featuring the other people from the British Boot Camp who did not win. Rockstar Spud won for British Boot Camp, but we got to see Party Marty Skrull, if I'm saying that correctly, and the Blossom Twins, who I affectionately now call the British Bella Twins, taking on Gail Kim Tara and Jesse. Great match. A lot of good spots. I was very impressed with Party Marty, as well as both of the Blossom twins. Not only because they're hot, but because of the fact that they actually have some in-ring talent. They actually know how to wrestle. Take note, WWE Divas. One thing I want to bring up was a spot on the outside involving Jesse and Party Marty, and it was like a suicide plancha through the ropes, but it kind of looked like Marty missed the point and just, I'll give it to Jesse for trying to sell it as best as he could, but the collision on the outside, Marty connected, or collided, I should say, with the guardrail on the outside, and that guardrail looked like it was really reinforced, and poor old Marty just, didn't come out smelling like a rose on that one. Finish of the match came with Gail Kim administering the Eat Defeat finisher on one of the Blossom twins and getting the victory. Then she goes on to cut a promo saying that, next week she found out that Tara is scheduled to defend the Knockouts title and wanted Brooke Hogan to come out and make the match and give Gail Kim what she deserves. Brooke Hogan obliges, but then goes on to add more in the form of Brooke Tessmacher and Velvet Sky. So on next week's Impact, we're going to have a fatal four-way elimination style match with Tara defending against Gail Kim, Velvet Sky, and Brooke Tessmacher. And Brooke Hogan said, to make sure there are no shenanigans, that she will be sitting there at ringside to keep an eye on Jesse to make sure nothing happens. So I'm very interested to look to see where that goes from here. And not only that, I'm going to go 4 out of 5. Very impressed with Party Marty and the Blossom twins, and from what I've understood from the Studley man Ashley, who was with on the Skype call and the conversation tonight during Impact, Party Marty and the Blossom twins do have contracts to OVW, which is the developmental company territory for TNA. So look forward to seeing them very, very soon, because I was thoroughly impressed with what they've done, and my first real opportunity getting to see them. Next up, we had what I believe to be one of the matches of the night, if not the match of the night, between Cowboy James Storm and RVD. Two top guys in TNA. Your X Division champion in RVD and James Storm. This was a very exciting match. I love the fact that the UK crowd is so into the matches. We've seen that over the past couple of weeks. That the fans are really, really into TNA and everything that they've done over the past couple of weeks. And this is why I so support the idea to start moving Impact and taking it on the road, because the fans, if I could call them that, over at Universal Studios, just don't know what they're talking about. They just go in there and they just watch the show, and they can be just literally oblivious as to what's going on. Finish of the match came. RVD was had screwed up on the Van Terminator. James Storm sized him up, hit the last call super kick, and gets the victory. Very nice match. 4.5 out of 5 for me on this one. Next up, we have what was the main event of Bully Ray and Austin Aries. I really think they should have flip-flopped it around, to be honest with you, the way everything panned out, because to me, Cowboy James Storm and RVD is a much bigger match than Bobby Roode and Austin Aries. No disrespect intended towards Bobby Roode and Austin Aries, but your main event was heel versus heel. I think you would have had a bigger reaction from the crowd with face versus face in the form of Cowboy James Storm and RVD. But they wanted to finish with Roode and Austin Aries. The finish of the match came because, they did a lot of weird things on this one. They even tried to do a double finger poke of doom, which was absolutely ridiculous. But the finish of the match came. Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez came out. And by the way, they were booed by the UK crowd. and they provided a distraction between for Bobby Roode and Austin Aries, and they started arguing on the outside, and then they realized that they were being counted out, and they did not get back into the ring in time, so there was a double count out in this. Honestly, Roode and Austin Aries, I would have expected better than what we got out of that, and it was just, too many comedic heel spots. That's what I call them, comedic heel spots. We could have done less of it. Maybe would have had a much better match than what we had. But what they presented, 3 out of 5 at best. So Hulk Hogan had to go out there and make a decision on who was going to get the number 1 contendership. And before Hogan could make the announcement of who was going to get it, he gets interrupted by Aces and Eights. The ring is surrounded. Hogan by himself. Bully Ray comes out with this quad injury and all, and with the big chain and to hold off Aces and Eights. And then Sting comes out with a pair of 2 baseball bats and a cricket bat. And so now Hogan, Ray, and Sting all have equalizers, and Aces and Eights backs off. So basically, that was their way of ending the show without making an actual announcement on who the number 1 contender is. Great job, TNA. 3.5 out of 5 on the ending. Overall score on Impact Wrestling this week is going to get a 3.5 out of 5 from me. The opening with Hogan and Sting, I thought it was okay. Especially now with the announcement of Team TNA versus Team Aces and Eights. Magnus and Daniels put on a great opening match. Again, Brooke Hogan is nice eye candy, but she cannot cut a promo. Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe, I really wanted to see a clean finish between these two, but they made an obvious scenario now with it's more very, very likely we're going to see Angle and Samoa Joe on Team TNA and Wes Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff on Team Aces and Eights. Very impressed with Party Marty and Skrull, if I'm saying it correctly again, and the Blossom Twins. And then, of course, we give the announcement of the Fatal 4-Way Elimination Knockouts match for the Knockouts title. Again, it's Tara taking on Gail Kim, Velvet Sky, and Brooke Tessmacher. And once again, I say, WWE Divas, take note. Cowboy James Storm and RVD, I gotta say, best match of the night, bar none. Bobby Roode and Austin Aries could have been better, so that's why I still say, match structure-wise, they should have flipped it around and had Roode and Austin Aries after the Knockouts match, and then make James Storm and RVD the main event. It could have worked out a lot better in that facet, in that form, but TNA decided to play it the way they did it. And then, of course, TNA decides to, instead of making the announcement of who the number 1 contender is, just have Aces and Eights go out there, confront Hogan, then have Bully Ray and Sting come out, and then they both have weapons, and then we just end the show on a standoff. So, now as you see, we've completed Mission 1 here on DMC Devil May Cry, and we start to get we're starting to get right into the middle of Mission 2. We see Kat. She want bring in Dante to the order, to, by the orders of her boss. They want to try to get Dante into the fold, from what it looks like. But on the next installment of DMC Devil May Cry, we're going to get more into Mission 2 and just who exactly the order is and just what exactly is going on in this game. So basically, look at Mission 2 as possibly maybe a way to write the story and see what the story is for DMC Devil May Cry. So be sure you guys check that out. DMC Devil May Cry Part 3 when it comes up very soon here on WGS-TV. So what I want to know now from you guys out there, the viewers and subscribers, your thoughts on Impact Wrestling this week. Be sure you put your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and favorite this video, especially if you guys want to see more DMC Devil May Cry right here on WGS-TV. And don't forget to please subscribe to youtube.com/WrestleGamer and youtube.com/ZFXTV Network. So with that being said, I'm Double B Billy Boo.
Stoke Voltage. Stoke Voltage. Stoke Voltage. Spiritual medium. Stoke Voltage. Stoke Voltage. I'm Haley, Ring Rose. Stoke Voltage.
My name's Andrew Weatherall.
Spiritual medium. Stoke Voltage.